Before anyone gets their hopes up, this will never, ever happen. I know people said that about Survivor, and then an all-winner season did happen, but Survivor had a lot more winners to choose from, a lot of whom were actually excited to come back. Survivor is a shorter time commitment for those winners, and there wasn't much bad blood between the Survivor winners that would stop them from playing with one another. Big Brother lacks all of those qualifications. There is a much smaller pool of winners, many of whom don't want to play again. A Big Brother season is much longer than Survivor, and there is a lot of bad blood between some winners, which could deter them from coming back. But that is exactly why an all-winners season would be so intense and so insane. There is a lot of hatred, animosity, and general disdain between some players that would guarantee some excellent quality TV. And combine that with the fact that these players are all very high caliber with very high skill ceilings, we'd be set up for quite possibly the best season of reality television the world has ever seen. Am I getting ahead of myself? Maybe. But take a look at the evidence. First of all, look at the cast of absolute all-stars this would be. Every single winner stands out in their own way. You have top-tier strategists with Dan, Dr. Will, Derek, Maggie, June. You have top-tier competitors with Kaycee, Cody, Jackson, Rachel. You have great social players with Lisa, Jordan, Andy. You have incredible all-around players with Drew, Boogie, Hayden, Steve, Nicole, Xavier. And you have very intriguing characters with Dick, Ian, and Josh. Also, there's Adam, who has the story of coming off the show, using his money to fund a drug ring, and eventually getting arrested for 4 years just for him to turn his life around, and now Adam provides guidance to those in sobriety and helping parents cope with the destruction of addiction. So, every player is bringing something to the table. Before we get to the stuff that would make this season absolutely insane, though, let's look at the positive connections these winners have with each other that would be brought into the game, likely causing initial divides within the house and making the targets pretty clear right from the get-go. Dan, Will, and Derek have a group chat between the three of them. Dan has played with Boogie and Ian. There's obviously Chilltown, which we'll talk more about later. There's the three winners from Big Brother 16 with the Hitmen plus Nicole Franzel. I'm pretty sure that Cody is friends with Boogie. Rachel has played with Dick, Hayden, and Jordan. Josh and Kaycee have been on 3 seasons of the challenge together and are very close. Ian has played with 4 other winners. He's very close with Nicole and is friends with Evel Dick. Some of the newer winners, like Xavier and Steve, along with some of the older winners, like June and Maggie, have seemingly much fewer connections, but they're winners for a reason, and I'm sure could find ways to integrate themselves. Overall, there are just many, many positive connections between the players, but with all the positives, there's going to be some negatives, and oh boy, there are a lot of negatives.
Again. He won it again. He didn't even win it. We freaking gave it to him.
These feuds, beefs, hatreds, and so on are what would make the season so good, but consequently are also the main reason why this season could never happen. There is somehow so much bad blood between everyone that it would just be a bloodbath before the season even began. There's obviously going to be different levels of bad blood, so let's start off easy. Ian beat Dan in the final 2 of Big Brother 14, and Dan was very much Team Memphis as opposed to Team Ian during All-Stars 2, so there might be a little something there. Probably not, but hey, this is like the base level. Also during Big Brother 14, there was a moment that stuck with Ian to this day, where Boogie went off on him for not picking up on social cues and said he wished he hadn't picked Ian for his team. Who knows where they are with things today, but it obviously had a lasting impression on Ian as he brought it up 8 years later on All-Stars 2. Hayden and Rachel were always on opposite sides during Big Brother 12. Week 1, Hayden nominated Rachel and almost got her evicted. Then in Week 4, Rachel nominated Hayden and sent his showmans home. Then the following week, Hayden was partially responsible for Rachel's eviction. And lastly, Rachel voted against Hayden in the final 2, almost costing him the victory. She later stated that she wished she had voted for Hayden, so maybe everything is gravy between them. But they weren't exactly best buddies inside the house and were on opposite sides during the infamous Floaters Grab a Life Vest fight.
Floaters, you better grab a life vest. Kristen.
I'm with you.
Why would I lie about that?
You know you didn't hear us making out last night.
Yeah.
Why would we ever do that in the room with you?
Hey, you got busted. It's okay. Let it go.
We didn't get busted,
Wow.
It's all right. No worries, guys. It's not a big deal.
Why do you? Because you're so smart, Kristen.
Yeah,
Because
I
you have
am.
a fashion degree.
Yeah.
And you are because you have a chemistry degree. String a sentence together without using the word like, will you?
Speaking of Rachel, she and Nicole Franzel competed on The Amazing Race 31 and had a falling out during the show, which, to my knowledge, hasn't been resolved. So there's definitely a bit of animosity between the two women, and I would be shocked if they didn't try to gun for each other inside the house.
Okay.
How long are you gonna leave us?
So let's go ahead and breathe in the bigger picture of life.
Next, it seems commonplace that most people dislike Jackson, and both Andy and Dick have displayed their dislike for the BB21 champion, so Mickey would likely have an uphill battle to climb with some of his fellow house guests. Before All-Stars 2 started, there was some beef brewing between Nicole and Derek for undisclosed reasons, so there may still be tensions there, and I'm sure it didn't help when Cody blindsided Nicole at the final 3 of that same season. I know Nicole took that eviction very hard and was very hurt, and although Cody still has love for Nicole, they really haven't spoken since, confirming that there are still lingering negative feelings from the event, which could create some interesting animosity inside the house. And sorta lastly, Andy very much dislikes Hayden because of, well, politics. All things considered, though, those are pretty tame compared to the 2 gigantic negative pillars that would make this season insane. One of the pillars is something that has gone down between 2 of the winners, and the other pillar is just an individual. Let's start with the player, whose presence on an all-winner season alone would make the drama and hatred surpass anything we've seen potentially ever. This individual is, of course, Evel Dick. Evel Dick has displayed his dislike for about 50% of the show's winners, so let's count them together. He was very vocal about his disgust of the potential pre-gaming that Dan and Derek set up for All-Stars 2, but I'm pretty sure Dick hated Derek long before that, and he very often shares a picture of Derek with a pig nose because Derek used to be a police officer. With that, combined with Dick's open dislike of Pauly Calafiore and an argument he got into with the Calafiore dad, leads me to believe that there isn't that many good graces between Dick and Cody either. I'm pretty sure Dick dislikes Adam and Jordan, but I could be wrong on those ones. He definitely hates Steve and thinks he's one of the worst winners of all time. He is very open about how he hates Nicole Franzel and often refers to her as Princess Tuggy. This next one, I'm a bit unsure of. Evel Dick has made a lot of jokes about Josh and Paul, but I feel that most of them have to do with Dick's hatred of Paul and less to do with Josh, but there's definitely a little something there on both sides. In early 2020, Dick and Jackson Mickey had a short but intense back and forth on Twitter where they both called the other out on racist, misogynistic behavior as well as some other things, so we can definitely add that to the long list of winners who have vendettas with Dick. But lastly, there's the everlasting feud between himself and Andy. These two have been going at it for years now on Twitter, and to see it unfold in person inside the Big Brother house where we know neither one would hold back would be such a damn spectacle, and their fight alone would be worth the price of admission. So based off of my count, that's roughly 10 out of the 22 winners that Dick has some beef with, which would just be so blissful and entertaining to watch.
Over, bitch. Done. Where's Eric? You know what? I won. Thank you. Yes, princess. Are you happy?
The second big bad thing is not nearly as humorous as watching Evel Dick fight every single house guest, and it's quite serious. It's the one that's on everyone's mind, the Boogie and Dr. Will situation. After Dr. Will declined to go on The Amazing Race with Boogie in 2018, Boogie didn't take too well to the news, and long story short, he threatened Will with a flurry of messages and threatening pictures that frightened Will to the point of calling the police to have Boogie arrested. Then a restraining order was put in place, and Boogie was found guilty of stalking Will. So, yeah, you could say that tensions are high there, and the restraining order alone would make an all-winner season impossible if we were to have all the winners on. But you can see how insane it would be to have Chilltown and the house together again after what has gone down between them. Obviously, it would never happen, but that sort of real-world, real-stakes situation is what makes the season true insanity in every manner of the word.
It's such a tough question because there's so many important aspects to the game. I think one important thing is you have to leave your morals and ethics at the door. So that sets the stage before you can even get into the strategy.
Will would never agree to go on the season with Boogie there, and I feel that other winners could feel the same way in their own situations. I think it's totally possible that Andy would refuse to go on a season if Evel Dick was also on the cast, and I bet Nicole could also feel the same way about a number of the players she has a history with. And overall, the hatred between some of these winners might be too much for us to get that perfect dream cast, and before we know it, we're just left with the Hitman and Kaycee, and a few others that they can scrounge up, which I don't think would lead to the best possible outcome that an all-winner season can provide. On that same note, another reason why all winners unfortunately would never happen is because I don't think there's enough appeal for some winners to want to play again in general. I have no idea if Lisa would be interested in coming back. Drew has seemingly dropped off the face of the earth. Same thing with Maggie. I don't think Boogie or Dick are even allowed to play again. Dan has his Twitch career that is very detrimental to take an extended break from. Who knows if Big Brother Brother will ever bring anyone back from season 15, so Andy might be out of luck. And while we're at it, Big Brother 9 might be in a similar situation, so that could rule out Adam too. Steve has said he never wants to play again, and I highly doubt Jackson will be brought back. That right there is 10 out of 22 winners, seemingly unwilling to come back, and that's not even taking into account the players that won't be able to go on an all-winner season because of work, family obligations, or simply just not feeling like it. So, in the scenario that everyone else would say yes to the season, the cast would look like Dr. Will, Hayden, Ian, Derek, Josh, Cody, and Xavier for the guys. And for the girls, we would have June, Jordan, Rachel, Nicole, and Kaycee. The gender distribution is pretty off. We don't even know if Xavier would come back, and while there are some big names on there, it would be a shame to have such a historic season and not bring in all the top dogs like how Survivor was able to. But in our hypothetical little world, if we could get all the winners to come back for a mega season of champions, the best of the best, and battle it out for the ultimate title, it would be a thing of beauty. With enough old school cutthroat players, it could give us a taste of the great Big Brother that I've been missing for so long, and it could be a proper send-off to so many legends of the game that never had the chance to properly end their stories. The out-of-game tension would make this season a treacherous road for almost every single player, as most of the winners have some sort of vendetta attached to them when they walk through those front doors. Plus, I would love to just sit back and watch the internet break and go into complete chaos over a Josh victory, becoming the first and only two-time Big Brother champion. And with that, I want to ask you who you think would win an all-winner Big Brother season. As much as I want to say it's Josh, I feel that someone like Kaycee would end up nabbing the crown, but a man can dream. Thank you for watching and getting to this point. Don't forget to subscribe, as it's always a huge help to me, and as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
I'm not able to be around everybody else. I'm missing my chance on being that social butterfly that I am. I missed out on Rockstar's birthday.
Disgusting. Disgusting. I can't believe on my daughter's birthday that you would drag my name through the mud like this. You are disgusting.
Dude, I'm so over this punishment. This guy right here, he gotta go. He gotta go.